Good day, life science students. Welcome to video lecture episode 11. Today we're still moving in chapter 25, the non-living environment, in section 1 titled Abiotic Factors. We should be able to finish that up today. We're going to start today on slide 49, dealing with another abiotic factor, that being temperature. Lower elevations have warmer temperatures. Conversely, higher elevations have colder temperatures. Air becomes warmer when the sunlight heats the molecules, and higher up in the atmosphere there are less molecules to heat thinner air. Alright, let's talk about something in relation to this just really quick, and that's called altitude sickness. Illness caused by ascent to a high altitude and the resulting shortage of oxygen, characterized chiefly by hyperventilation, nausea, exhaustion, and cerebral edema, brain swelling. That is descriptive of what altitude sickness is. Now, the shortness of oxygen occurs not because there is less oxygen, but because the air pressure is lower up there, and to inhale actually requires a greater amount of work. So in other words, you're not getting this in as naturally as you would. In fact, at lower elevations, the air pressure naturally forces air into our lungs. This does not happen at higher elevations, thus we have to literally work harder for it the higher we go up in elevation. Now, at higher elevations also, trees are shorter and the ground is rocky. Above the timberline, plant life is limited to low-growing plants. The timberline refers to the elevation beyond which trees do not grow. Some mountain peaks are covered with snow, and plants cannot survive, because think about it, snow year-round. It doesn't give the chance for the plant to live. Let's move into slide 52, and let's talk about another abiotic factor, and that's climate. What is climate? Well, climate by definition is an area's average weather conditions over time. This includes temperature, rainfall, or other precipitation and wind. Temperature and precipitation are the most influential when it comes to climate. Just let's keep that in mind in our discussion. Precipitation is the moisture in the air. That would include rain, snow, sleet, or hail that falls to the ground. Those are all forms of precipitation. A place with a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, which translates into 77 degrees Fahrenheit, that has 25 centimeters of rain, may be a desert, whereas a region of 300 centimeters of daily rain would be a rainforest. So you can see where that precipitation has a huge impact, and the temperature in combination with that as well. Now, let's talk a little bit more about that, and let's just visually look at precipitation on slide 53. You'll notice that based on the temperature, that precipitation changes. So if you look at the far left-hand side of the image on slide 53, you see it's rain. And then as it cools over and there's less warm air, you notice, and you go to the far right-hand side, you get the snow. And then, of course, freezing rain and sleet are there in between. Now, looking at slide 54, let's talk about also wind in connection with climate. Heat energy from the sun not only determines temperature, but it also is responsible for the wind. Air is made up of gas. Warmer air is lighter and rises. Cold air sinks and pushes warm air up. These motions create air currents, which we call wind. And if you look on slide 54, you can see that dog is experiencing some extreme wind. Now, let's look at just a couple fun little images, looking at hot air balloon rides on slide 55, and then looking at slide 56, seeing how wind works, and also you notice those girls trying to cross the street in the city. It's awful windy, and so this still image reflects that. And then there's a little dandelion as well on slide 56. That's kind of, you see the little seeds are being blown off it. Now let's talk about the rain shadow effect in connection with this abiotic factor of climate. The presence of mountains can affect rainfall patterns. Wind blowing towards one side of the mountain is forced upward by the shape of the mountain, but as the air nears the top of the mountain, it cools at the higher elevation. When air cools, the moisture in it can form rain or snow. By the time the air crosses the mountain, it has lost all of its moisture. Thus, the other side of the mountain receives less precipitation. It is not uncommon to find a rainforest on one side of the mountain and a desert on the other as a result. And let's go to slide 58, where we'll end our lecture today and finish section 1 of chapter 25. And it's a quote from Dr. Seuss. Just let this sink in a little bit. To the world you may be one person, but to one person you may be the world. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope this lecture has been helpful. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comments below. And I look forward to interacting with them and hope this is helpful. Take care. Goodbye.